Hello there, dear friends, and welcome once again to the Relaxed Fantasy Review. Today, we're going to be talking about spellcasting, and specifically, we're going to be talking about the halfcaster, the Ranger. Rangers and other halfcasters have a bit of a struggle bus deal when it comes to their magic. They scale much slower than other spellcasters. Rangers don't get their 4th level spells until they're level 13 in the game. And other spellcasters, full casters, get that all the way back at level 7. So that is midway through 2 completely different tiers of play. Tier 2 and Tier 3 are not created equal. And the idea that Rangers are dealing with 4th level spells in the middle of Tier 3, that's tricky to work around. But they do get some pretty unique magic. And Rangers often leave their magic to Hunter's Mark, or maybe a summon spell. But I think there's a couple options here. I've made a top 5 list that Rangers should genuinely consider taking. Starting with number 5 on the list, I say Stone Skin. Stone Skin is an attack, or is a spell that gives you resistance to slashing, piercing, and bludgeoning damage. It's not the greatest resistance. First of all, it takes 100 gold to cast it. So, it's not cheap. And it takes concentration. And the attacks are only non-magical. We're not exactly working with the best spell in the game here, but if you don't want to take that level of Barbarian to get Rage, and you want to stick with Ranger, this is a good way to get damage resistance, if you don't have it already. And it lasts for a full hour, so it's something you can cast before combat. And if money is no concern to you, and to be honest, it's not a big concern for most characters, Stone Skin is a great way to make yourself tankier. So that's why I give it the number 5 spot on this list. It's not because it's the best spell, it's just because it does something that's valuable to Rangers, especially if they're melee based. Then at number 4, we have Summon Elemental. Like I said, summoning spells are great for Rangers. And Elemental actually gives you quite a few options. You can summon one of the 4 baseline elemental spirits, earth, air, fire, and water. And they all have different stats. The air one can fly, the earth one can burrow, the water one can swim. They all have different damage resistances. Water is resistant to acid, for example. Fire is immune to fire. They're all immune to poison. The earth is resistant to slashing and piercing, although not bludgeoning. And they all have the ability to amorphously move, except the earth one, so they can squeeze through tight spaces if they're any of the other 3. And they all do a multi-attack, a slam attack that does either bludgeoning damage if they're any except the fire, and then fire damage if they are the fire. There's a lot of versatility here. They have a decent pool of hit points, 50 if you cast it at level 4, a decent armor class, 15. This would be really handy if you also had a flying speed like the air elemental. And yeah, there's just a lot of good abilities these creatures have. It lasts for an hour with your concentration, and you can command the creature, no action required. So you get a couple good multi-attacks, some good utility, and yeah, Summon Elemental is just a solid pick for a buddy spell. But for number 3, we're going to talk about a different type of nature spirit spell. Guardian of Nature. This is one you don't see very often. It's a very powerful Ranger spell. When you cast this, you cast it on yourself, and you go through a transformation. The transformation you can choose one of 2 different types, either the beast or the tree. If you choose the beast, then you get several benefits. Your speed increases by 10 feet, so you're faster. You get dark vision if you didn't have it already. You have advantage on all attacks made with strength-based weapons. All of them. So for a full minute, you attack with advantage every time you attack with strength. Which is actually kind of crazy. Advantage on all attacks, as long as you have this spell up, is great. And whenever you do your melee damage, you do an extra 1d6 damage with it. So that's even better. So this is a great way to empower a melee-based ranger. The tree, on the other hand, comes with some different benefits. First of all, you get 10 temporary hit points, which isn't a lot when you're level 13, but it's something. And you make all your Constitution saving throws with advantage. The ground within 15 feet of you is difficult terrain. I guess that's because you cause roots to come up. But the most important one is this also gives you advantage on all attacks with dexterity or wisdom. So if you're a ranger that just took the druidic warrior feature and attacks with cantrips, or if you're using shillelagh, or if you're using a bow or a dexterity-based weapon, anything like that, you attack with advantage, both spell and weapon. So the tree is real appealing for spellcasters, whereas the beast would be appealing for rangers that are attacking close up. And obviously the ranged rangers, the ones with bows, would probably pick the tree, although there's extra speed of the beast could help them out. There's different options. And all in all, this is an amazing buff spell. This is one of those that, other classes wish they got. Like, if a fighter could get advantage on all of their attacks for one or the other, that would be insane. But it just doesn't work like that. This is a special thing for rangers, so that's why it goes on this list. But there are still other options. Number 2 on the list, Dominate Beast. You cast the spell on a beast, they make a wisdom save, and if they fail it, you are now mind controlling them. You give them an order, no action required. You can give them general orders, such as go over there, attack that creature, whatever. And it takes a body from the other side, if you're in a fight, and turns it against their enemies. And the reason I put it above something like a summoning spell is because of that numbers game. If it's your party versus half a dozen powerful beasts, now all of a sudden it's your party and a powerful beast against one less. It really shifts the tide a little more than a standard summoning spell would. And you can even mind control them to the point where they will allow themselves to be hurt. If you use your action every turn, you can take direct control of the beast, giving them exact orders where to move, how to attack, or what not to do, like defend themselves. It's very, very interesting, and certainly a bit of a moral dilemma as far as like hard mind control goes, but it's a very powerful spell. And it only lasts for a minute if you cast it at 4th level, but you can upcast it assuming you have spell slots to do so. So that's why it's a good one. The only one I would say that goes above it is one that any ranger should consider: Conjure Woodland Beings. This spell allows you to conjure depending on how many you want. So you can summon 1 that is CR2, summon 2 that is CR1, 4 that are CR1/2, or 8 that are CR1/4. And you summon Fey Spirits. So it's like Conjure Animals, except it's woodland beings, so fairies and sprites and pixies and things. Speaking of pixies, the spell doesn't specify that you get to choose the creatures you summon, just the strength of them. But DMs usually allow players to have some influence over what they summon. However, most tables will not allow you to summon pixies, because pixies have the ability to cast the polymorph spell, which means that now all of a sudden you have 8 creatures flying around that can turn you and your entire party into powerful monsters. So that one usually goes out the window for being too powerful, but still, throwing 8 bodies on the field that usually have some element of magic, flight, and trickery abilities really sets the spell apart. So if I were you, I'd cast Conjure Woodland Beings, summon up your 8 Fey Spirits, and then just have them wreck all of your enemies' shit. All in all, Conjure Woodland Beings is a super powerful spell, even at level 13 when Rangers get it, and I highly recommend that anyone give it a shot. This has been the Relaxed Fantasy Review. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe down below, and keep your eyes peeled for more spellcasting reviews coming down the line soon. Have a good one, my friends.